What's up? Welcome back to my channel, or for the first time if you're new, I'm Sylvan, and today I'm going to be reacting to Tsukishiro Yanagi's character demo, 99 plus to-dos. I think that's going to set the tone of what this is going to be like. I wasn't sure if they were going to be releasing her demo or a teaser or something now, but looks like we get the demo. I'll be curious to see if we get a proper teaser for her later down the line, or if we just don't and we get just a music video or something. They're keeping us on our toes when it comes to the logistics of how they release the promotional stuff for Zenless. Either way, we have this right here for us now, so feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoy this video, leave a comment on your thoughts, and let's get into it.
This month's financial statement. Looks good. Phew, done. Now all I need is the chief's signature. Come to think of it, it's been a while since I've had a red bean bun.
Okay.
Oh wait, today's training day. I need to get this document to the chief before she leaves.
Burnice just asleep.
She's still here.
I want burgers!
That'll be for dinner.
Jesus, okay.
Here, you can have this for now. Later we can... Wait, what?
Oh.
Where's Chief? Chief?
Oh, okay. This is cute.
Chief, are you there?
Oh. Cutting hair cameo.
Hello? Chief, are you there? Excuse me, have you seen... Oops, she's not here either. Sorry.
Okay, just not taking care of them. Oh, is she in a hollow?
Chief? Chief?
Okay.
Are you there? I'm not really in the mood to deal with you right now, but you're asking for it.
Oh. Ooh, good impact frame. Oh, and that's it. Okay.
Chief, Miyabi. Hoshimi Miyabi. Oh,
I heard they have the best red
what am I
bean buns here.
doing?
Sold out so quickly today.
A young lady just bought them all.
The red bean buns are already sold out.
Let me guess, Miyabi bought them.
Oh, you're back. Red bean buns. I remember you liked them.
Yeah.
Nagi, look! Chief got a ton of red bean buns!
Tsukishiro, I went ahead and finished these for you.
All right, let's eat them together.
I called dibs on the biggest one!
Hey, that one's for Tsukishiro.
It's okay, Sukaku. You can have it.
You're the best, Nagi!
Okay. That's nice and cute. I honestly wasn't sure necessarily what they were going to do with this one, given how fucking bombastic the last one was with Burnice. But this is about the vibe that I expected from her. She is much more of this kind of character. She isn't necessarily going to have these big bombastic events happening. So, really, this is fairly straightforward. As the name suggests, she's going through what she has to do for the day. She is making sure that everything's done. Says this month's financial statement looks good. And we get the first shot of this little poster of the red bean buns as she's just sort of leaning up against this wall, looking at her papers as she says she's done. And pulls out her phone. We can see a few things of what her business is looking like. Looks like she has 6 things. She has a fucking progress bar, organized meeting minutes, department monthly expenditure report, investigator social event speech, 4 of them. Jesus, okay. Some indistinct stuff. But then as she swipes, we get a few other things. Book Asaba's health checkup. Is his health not good, or is it just a regular checkup? Today's snacks for Sokaku. That's already dealt with. Perhaps it's the apple we see later, or perhaps it was another case of snacks for her. We know Sokaku after all. And then we have the unchecked one, urgent. Hollow Zero's special operation proposal needs to be signed off by Miyabi, the one that she's trying to get all of the time here. And then at the bottom here, we have a little note that isn't necessarily a specific thing to do, but just as some things she's to consider, need to regulate Sukaku's daily meal times. Snacks should be eaten in moderation between meals. Praise Miyabi enough to get her to participate in today's meeting, I guess? That's cute. So she clearly is the planner and the organizer of Section 6. Really, this is the kind of person that we can learn more about the people around her through her actions than we can about her in many ways. As with these notes and these other things she had to do that she already did, we can see how she manages the personalities of everyone around her to organize them towards a singular front. As we have multiple references here to Sokaku's particularly voracious appetite, but then we also get the mention of Asaba's medical checkup, which perhaps he has some kind of medical condition, or perhaps that's just sort of nothing and they really are just waiting to really show off what he's about later and just giving us little bits of fun personality with like him sleeping later. But then the biggest thing we have here, in my opinion, is the Miyabi thing. Praise Miyabi enough to get her to participate in today's meeting implies that, as we sort of understand about her so far, Miyabi is a skilled combatant, but not necessarily a capable bureaucrat or leader necessarily. She needs to be coerced and nudged towards getting through all the bureaucracy. Which makes sense for what we know of Miyabi's character, but ultimately all this just leads to the fact that Yanagi is an organizer, a planner, a coordinator. She's the one who makes everything tick. She is how the clock that is Section 6 works. But so getting back to what's actually happening, we visually see the urgent notice of what she needs to get done, and she speaks on it in case we don't read it in the time that's briefly on screen. Now all I need is the chief's signature. And then we just have this moment of her idly thinking to herself as she's pretty much done with the day. She doesn't have any more work to do outside of this one last thing that should be simple. So she starts just sort of thinking about what she'll do after work. She says, come to think of it, it's been a while since I've had a red bean bun. And then we get this moment which, if I'm to describe this moment in a few different ways, it could, in relation to other characters, be a Jane moment, if that makes sense. And if we're talking in the vernacular of, say, someone on Twitter, this is a Gooner moment. I'll leave it at that. They definitely know what they're doing with that. But anyways, then we get this brief cut to Miyabi as she unsheaths her blade, looks at it, probably just checking to see that it's in ship shape, is about to resheath it, really just sort of acknowledging her existence in the office space. And also serving as a way to visually show that Yanagi has a moment of realizing something related to Miyabi, thinking of her for a moment, and that making her come to this realization she has, as she realizes today's training day. But as she rushes, my initial thought was she needs to get to training, she has little time, so she needs to rush. But then the line here clarifies that no, she's not running because she needs to get to training, she needs to get to Miyabi before she's gone for training. And we get a bit of her sort of fun run here, as she sort of stumbles a little bit while trying to move quickly. And we get this fun shot that is just of Section 6, essentially. We have Sukaku just sort of dutifully working, same with Miyabi, and then there's Haramasa just sleeping at his desk, which is real fun. That's a great little bit of characterization. And we once again here have a moment showing more explicitly to people who didn't go through and reading all of her little to-do things, a series of moments of her keeping the team together and helping them out in little ways that are simple for her but help everyone out in the long run. She drops off a paper, she moves Haramasa's chair so that he's in a more comfortable position while sleeping, not even scolding him and waking him up, just making him more comfortable as he mumbles in his sleep, much better. And then we have Sukaku jumping from her desk at Yanagi saying that she's starving and wants burgers. Clearly Yanagi is the person who coordinates the meals around here to some degree, or perhaps is in charge of her snacks, as we saw from her to-do list. But in this moment we once again have another one of those moments I was describing earlier with the way that Sukaku interacts with Yanagi. Anyways, Yanagi just casually, calmly is like, burgers will be for dinner, offers an apple. You can have this for now. Later we can, and it's probably going to say we can get some burgers, but then she cuts herself off as she realizes Miyabi is gone, and there's just that whoosh sound. Now, of course, this is an issue. She needs Miyabi to sign a thing. And we get just this cute moment where her glasses just sort of white out, and she gets sort of worried. She rushes to the window looking out to see if she can spot her. The music picks up. She rushes out the door needing to get her face scanned. She's nervous, biting on her little glove. Starts looking around Lumina Square. These are all identifiable spots around the various points of town. We have this fun cameo I pointed out of the Cunning Hares, just hanging out at their car, just sort of looking up into the sky. She's calling out for her. She pokes into a warehouse of all places, to see if Miyabi is there for some reason, and finds nothing but ethereals there, who spot her, and she goes, oh, oops, not here, sorry, as if that'll solve the issue. And she just sort of closes the door and leaves. And then we get this shot of her in, obviously, a hollow, given all of the ether crystals and just the particles and slight distortions that we see, which leads me to think that potentially that other shot also was in a hollow. But that leads me to an interesting thought. Why would she think to go out here, unless perhaps the training that Miyabi does isn't just like in a training room or something, but it's going out into hollows and killing ethereals? I could very much see that. For someone whose job has her going into Hollow Zero consistently, or frequently at the very least, a normal hollow wouldn't pose nearly as much of a threat. So it makes sense to me that perhaps normal hollows are the training grounds of Miyabi, which says something about her level of power, given that she's a void hunter. That makes sense. But to an extent, it also says something about Yanagi's power. She wanders into a hollow just to try to find Miyabi, and isn't perturbed by this. And we see more of that as this little scene moves on, as she continues calling out. A ton of ethereals chase after her, including a big one, and she goes, I'm not in the mood to deal with you, but you're asking for it. I'll deal with this quickly. We get this cute little kick of her weapon, and then she pulls it out. Great, just slashing around, impact frame. She catches that and moves on. They're already dead. That is a very strong showing of her level of power. It heavily implies that, much like Miyabi is implied to be, Section 6 as a whole is deeply powerful. They are in all likelihood some of the most powerful in-universe people that are playable currently, / to be playable. But so then we have her just continuing to look around, but sort of losing heart. She looks in a box as just a last resort, not expecting to even be there. And as she doubts herself, saying, what am I doing? We have voices coming in from somewhere of just random people talking about the best red bean bun place around that is already sold out, and reference to a young lady just buying them all, as Yanagi is just sort of down in the dumps, adjusting her shoe. She's probably really tired and uncomfortable from walking around in heels across the entire city. We get the sign that they're sold out again here, is just with this sign, as she just sort of laments that, oh no, the red bean buns are sold out. I can't even have a nice little treat after my day that has gone on way longer than I wanted it to. So, defeated, she returns back to the office, a little more disheveled. But then, there she is, Miyabi. Rather cutely, she's standing on a box to reach her desk. That's just cute. Like, I didn't process that she's that short. But we then see red bean buns are there. Gee, I wonder who that young lady who bought the buns is. And Miyabi just goes, oh, you're back. And she says, red bean buns, I remember you liked them. Showing that she cares for Yanagi. It's a good relationship there. They care for each other. It's not just that Yanagi thanklessly keeps everyone working together and productive. It's that she does that, and then, in turn, they care for her and do things for her. Like this. And then, just very much in character, Sukaku just gets excited, being like, look, the chief brought back a ton of red bean buns. It's great. And Haramasa, who is barely awake, says that he went ahead and got a lot of Yanagi's work done for her. Once again, forwarding that idea I just mentioned of them all supporting her, reciprocating how she supports them. And we just get this shot where we can't see her eyes, but we just see her take in a breath, sigh, as we see her eyes closed now, and she just sort of composes herself and says, all right, let's eat them together. And what I get from that very much is this feeling of complicated emotions, where she's wrestling with the fact of the idea that she just wasted a ton of time for nothing. If she had just waited, Miyabi would have gotten back eventually with both the red bean buns for her and been able to sign the thing. But also the feeling of, oh, they do actually care for me. They do actually remember what I like, and they do get things for me. They do care about me. And so, being the manager of the group, basically, that she is, she composes herself, smiles, and though she's a little conflicted about how the day has gone, she tries to enjoy it. She tries to go forward and enjoy and be thankful for the kindness of her friends and her coworkers. And at this point, Sukaku calls dibs on the biggest one, grabs one immediately, goes to eat it. Haramasa says, hey, wait. We were trying to give the best ones to Tsukishiro, but at this point we can see Yanagi has recovered from that little conflict in her heart, and once again is into essentially parenting mode for Sukaku, saying, it's okay, you can have it, I'll just have another one that isn't as big. As very much she seems like the kind of person who will be happy to have one and to be able to have a nice treat, but she doesn't need to have the best one or the biggest one or anything. She's willing to share. As she says, let's have them together, rather than, oh, thank you, I'll have them. And in turn, we have Sukaku praising Yanagi, Yanagi, and that's where they leave us. Overall, this is a pretty straightforward one, like I said at the beginning. Really, at the core of it is the relationship of Section 6 and Yanagi's position in that. She is the caretaker, the manager, the organizer, in many ways, especially to someone like Sukaku, the mother figure. She's the one who takes care of everyone and orients them towards what they need to be doing at any given time. And though at times that is thankless work, at the end of the day, she is reminded of the fact that they all care for her and are deeply thankful for everything she does for them, and they couldn't think any highly of her than they already do, which is just really cute, really wholesome. There's a couple of those capital M moments, if you get what I mean, for her, just for, you know, certain crowds. But overall, it's a very relaxed, very simple, very chill demo, and I enjoy it. Realistically, this probably could have been a teaser, but hey, the animation's good, I won't complain. And with that, I feel like I've touched on everything, pretty much, in here. I'm looking forward to Yanagi. I'm considering on pulling for her. Feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment on your thoughts if you're intending to pull for her, that kind of thing. And I hope you all have a great day. Goodbye.